Talk to us about what folks are going to see if their dog is having a problem with respiratory disease.
Yeah. And respiratory disease is a serious concern
Yes.
because it can lead to something very serious, very acutely, and you can end up in a lot of trouble in a fairly short period of time. So it needs to be taken seriously. I just want to throw in that cats, because
Mhm.
we do need to talk about cats. When
Mhm.
cats finally develop the point that they develop respiratory disease to the point that they are in respiratory distress, they're down to their last alveolus that they
Yep.
cannot inflate. So
Mm.
cats won't tell you they have respiratory disease until the last minute. Dogs, on the other hand, are more than happy to tell you early on. They'll have a runny nose, they'll have coughing, they'll
Drama
have
queens.
stuff. Well, but they're dogs, and so
Yeah.
they'll stand over you in the bed in the middle of the night and like hack in your face and gack up something on the floor that you step on in the middle of the night. All these wonderful things. But we can see cough, we can see respiratory distress, we can hear noisy respirations. There's some symptoms that dogs tell us about fairly early on, and some are serious and some are not serious, but they still need to all be assessed because
Okay.
you don't always know how this is going to look 24 hours from now. It
Mhm.
may look like just a no
Mhm.
big deal, but actually the soft, quiet cough is more serious than the loud, hacking, gacking kind of thing that they do that sounds like
Mhm.
kennel cough. So important that you can distinguish the difference.
Okay. So when we're talking about respiratory disease, we're talking about everything from kennel cough to pneumonia.
Yeah, so upper airway and lower airway. So upper airway is pharyngitis, kennel cough, laryngeal disease, things like that,
Mhm.
all the way down to pneumonia, um, lung tumors, all the stuff that happens in the lungs or the pleural cavity. The pleural cavity being where the lungs and the heart are housed in the chest.
Okay.
So it can be a whole array of different things. And so we're going to kind of do a really broad overview today. And then if there's enough interest, we can go into some additional details when we but I always like to do the forest before the trees,
Yes.
because if you don't understand the overarching concerns, then you tend to kind of get lost in the whole conversation.
Okay. So let's start with the upper airway and some of those more, they're not minor, but they're less liable to be fatal kind of things.
Unless it's LARPAR, laryngeal paralysis, and
Mm,
that's and
yeah.
BOAS, which
Fair.
are so we have BOAS and LARPAR, and then we have the other stuff, which is usually something relatively minor like kennel cough, but it can be a foreign body, it can be a lot of things. So upper airway is from the back of the throat or the nose. Rhinitis is the nose.
Mhm.
So rhino is like rhinoceros. Rhino is rhinitis. That's inflammation of the nasal passages. And then we can have tracheal disease, laryngeal disease, that kind of upper respiratory thing. And then we get down past the rib cage where it ends up to be more serious when it gets into the lungs in many cases, but not all. So if we have BOAS, if we have LARPAR, that's pretty serious too.